Hey guys, this is Reverend Leslie. So, I just had kind of an argument with my son, and the content of what I was trying to explain to him, I thought may be relevant in the world today as people are starting to tap in to their spiritual gifts, right? So, from a very early age, I had learned how to nurture these spiritual gifts that we were all born with in our hearts, right? I just happened to never close my heart. And so through the years, the gifts of intuition and visions and knowing and just, all the cool things that come when you leave your heart open, because it is the portal to whatever's bigger than us, they got really good. And so throughout my life, particularly as a parent and with colleagues, right, professionals, I would say things that were really wise, but I didn't know why I said them. I didn't even realize half the time what I said. Like, people would be like, wow, thank you, you just changed my life. I'm like, what the hell did I say? Because it was just coming out intuitively. I wasn't thinking of it. I was just tapped into intuitive knowing. And when that happens, you know what people need, in a sense, to get over a hump, right? So, and I'm going to share this because maybe you experience this too. Like, even in school, I always knew answers, and I could explain how I knew the answer, but I could never actually physically show my work. And so school was horrendous. Luckily, I knew it wasn't about me. People just didn't understand, so I tried to understand why they weren't understanding. But even with kids, right, I was always kind of the philosopher, old soul. And so people always challenged the things that come out of my mouth, especially if they are the truth, but they're different from societal norms. Then I get like such pushback, it's not even funny, even amongst religious and spiritual leaders. Because I guess you can say I've lived the divine truth for dummies. I didn't know what I was doing until about 2020. Then I started to put the pieces together and everything made sense, right? So back to my son. I will get little visions, just little flashes of things that are going to be happening 10, 15 years ahead. I've always been like that. I didn't know what they were, right? So I will say things, and my son, who loves to argue, because like me, who's neurodiverse or neurodivine, and for him, arguing is a way of getting his dopamine fix, right? But it's exhausting being on the other end, especially since a lot of things I say, I can't prove, right? And so they'll say, like, you're ignorant, you don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, oh. So I guess he's 33 now. He just pushed me to my limits today. And I was saying something, and I said, like, I sense. And he goes, I forget the exact words he used, but basically I was ignorant. I didn't know what I was talking about. And so I hung up on him. Not very nice, but I kind of knew if I said, let's not go down this path, he would want to still argue the point. And I was tired and not feeling good. So I hung up, and I texted him afterwards. And what I texted him, I thought you may be able to use in your life too, as people wake up and start to tap into their intuition, and they don't know how to explain it to others because you can't explain it, right? And I see a lot of this on YouTube now. It's kind of getting on my nerves because people are saying, like, oh, Spirit told me to post this. Like, just an FYI, if you're using that Spirit told me to do something to further yourself and not the collective, it's going to backfire, right? There has to be pure intention under it. But, so a few years ago, my son had said to me, I hate to admit it, but you're always right, what you say about the future. And I remember back then saying to him, then stop arguing with me, But today I came up with this, and this is what I think might help. So I said to my son, if I say, I know, that means I know from experience. Okay? Why this is important is one of the things I observe in the world where we get into a lot of trouble in propagating things that are not truthful is we don't speak from our experiences. We form opinions, and our thoughts are based on other people's words, who they may not have experienced it, right? If you need an example of this, back when, I'll give you a recent one. I was in a group and they were talking about criminals, and everyone's saying, well, criminals do this and they think this. And I just said respectfully, how do you know that? Have you asked them? And some girl says, well, no, but we took a 3-week course in our business. I'm like, okay, so a 3-week course someone taught you, and that gives you the right to state what a criminal thinks, believes, and needs. Right? Like, the only way you know is to ask a criminal. That is the only way you'll know. So that's when I say I know to my son. He knows that I'm speaking from my experiences. If I say to him, I think, that means I formulated a thought, and argue all you want, because it's just an opinion, right? If I say to him, I feel, well, you can't argue. Same way I can't argue when someone else says they feel. It's just expressing the words of the heart, which are neither wrong or right. They are the person's feelings. You don't have to prove them wrong or right. That's what they feel. Validate it. If need be, just see if you can ask a question that helps them see it differently. Now, for people who are intuitive, I told my son, when I say I sense, that is his clue that something bigger than me has given me a little snippet vision of what's ahead, or somehow the connection to what's bigger than us has clued me in on something that's coming ahead of us, right? So I hope that helps. If you've never tapped into intuition, you're not probably going to know what the hell I'm talking about. However, to recap, if you're speaking from experience, you can say, I know. If you're speaking from just an opinion, you can say, I think. If you are simply expressing your feelings, you're speaking the words of your heart, which you are never to shut down, say, I feel. And if you don't know why you're saying it, but something inside you told you to say it, then you say, I sense. And that means you were given information from a source bigger than us through the open portal of your heart. Make sense? All right, cool. One day, maybe, I will do a video that's shorter than a minute. Probably not. So, all right, listen, I'd like to send you some energy, some divine love. So if you're not driving, close your eyes. And just, as I send it, if it's working, you'll feel a little bit of peace, calm, just relaxed. If it's not working, that's often a clue that you may need to open up your heart a little bit. And to do that, do what I'm doing here with yourself, hand on heart. And I want you to breathe ground to crown, which means imagine pulling up the energy from beneath your feet. Bring it all the way up, your calves, your thighs, your groin. When you get to your core, tighten your core a little bit. And then bring it all the way up. And when you get to about here, cross your eyes real quick. Brings left and right brain together. And bring it up to the top of your head. And then bring it all the way back down again. I was guided at the age of 2 to start doing this. And I would do 3 times. Okay? I do this all throughout the day. So as I'm sending you this love, energy of love, I want you to move the energy as I'm sending it to you. All right? With energy, not high or low. It's stagnant or flow. All right. I'm shushing now. Okay. I don't have the air on and it's hot as hell. So we're going to end that here. But have a beautiful, heartfelt, and joyful day. And remember, if you experience joy, you also have to experience the opposite. Okay? So find comfort in the dark to find comfort in the light. I love you. Bye-bye.